Hello everybody, my name's Nicola and I blog over at thefrugalcottage.com all about budgeting, money saving, investing and lots of things in between. And if you're new here then welcome, hello, and if you're not new here then thanks for stopping by again and it's nice to see you. Now I'm going to do a little budget update for you and then my cash envelope stuffing as I normally do on a Sunday, although it feels like it's been quite a while since I've done one of these. But yeah, so the first kind of full week of January has gone by, so I thought I'd do a little kind of weekly update on how my budget's going. I do these, this is my budget binder, and I'll link the January budget planner below if you want to look at that. I'll also link the binder and the envelopes that I use for my cash envelope system because I get lots of messages about that, and all of that will be in the description box below. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video as well. There's lots of content planned for 2020. Anyway, I'll just move those out of the way slightly. Open my budget planner. So I did like a January budget overview. Right. So my first thing I'm going to look at is my January no spend day tracker. So I'm aiming for 20. And the kind of the yellow goldy one that looks like on there is a no spend day. So at the moment I've had 8. I'm going to have 3 spend days in a row because today will also be one, but then I'm hoping that the rest of the week will all be no spend days. And I'm really happy with how that's gone as a starting point. I feel like for the first time in ages I've got a real handle on my own spending habits, and the no spend year that I keep talking about has definitely made an impact on that. Even things like just popping to the shop or getting a takeaway because I'm really tired and can't be bothered to cook. All those things really do have an impact. So it's going okay so far. I'm really pleased with that. If you want to download this tracker, it's free in my no spend month Facebook group. If you just Google the Frugal Cottage, it'll be on there. You can download that for free if you want to use that. And then and look again at the impact of having a no spend month and year is the fact that my expense tracker is so there's hardly anything written on it, and that's a good thing. I'll just zoom in slightly, not that my camera likes me doing that. So Pets at Home is our cat food. I kind of stocked up a bit on there. Dry cat food, we get the dry cat food from there. Morrison's Petrol, £20.75 is a really annoying number, but that's what it was. Food, £53. Morrison's miscellaneous, so I got a massive thing of washing up liquid for like the washing machine and things like that last week, so that's quite a big expense. So they're all on the 5th, that was last Sunday, and then on the 10th I had to pop to Asda, we'd run out of milk and fruit, and then yesterday were monthly gymnastics fees. But apart from that, I mean, as a starting point, as a month goes, that's the best it's been in ages, so I'm really pleased with that. And if I turn over quickly to the weekly kind of check-in page that I've got, where are we? Here you can see that I've got the numbers looking bad. So £60 for like a week for food is fantastic. Miscellaneous £25, 32. So that was the cat food and the household things. That's okay. Don't think I'll need to go for cat food for another couple of weeks. So that's good. Petrol, oh, what an annoying number that is, but there you go. And then the children. So in terms of what I've got left there for our variable expenses, that's looking really good at this point in time. So I'm really pleased with that. And that's all to show you in there. So I'll just move that out of the way. So my budget is going really well. And then cash envelopes. So I got 150. Oh, I'll zoom out a bit again. Apologise for that. I got £150 out for this week for our cash envelopes. And I normally have 6, don't I? If you've watched these before, you know I talk about this all the time. I have 6 variable cash envelopes. However, clothes is not being used and eating out is not being used, and I have to say eating out / takeaways, because that's one of the big things that we're trying not to do this year. I thought I would miss that more. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know it's only kind of, what's the date today? We're only 12 days into January, so I realise there's a long way to go. The only thing that I really wanted the other day, I thought, oh no I can't, is I really wanted to go to Costa and get a coffee because I was really tired, and I drive past the drive-thru on the way home. So that's going to be a real test. I have looked at survey sites that maybe do Costa vouchers as part of their rewards, but I've not really found any, so if you know of any, let me know. I think that's going to be the toughest one. But, you know, there you go. We've made this decision. So the only four I'm going to use for this week, so we've got food, petrol, miscellaneous. Whoa, what's my camera doing? Oh, I'll say that again. So food, petrol, miscellaneous and children are the four categories that I've used. And the only category, the only one that has any money in it is the food envelope, has £3 left in there. So we'll start with that one. So for food for this week, we are running really low on stuff. The freezer, I think, has like frozen peas and some frozen waffles and a loaf of bread in, and I think that's pretty much it. We've had kind of lots of things in there that have been in there for ages, so I've been trying to use those. But the downside to that is that there's nothing kind of on standby, so to speak. So I do need to fill up the freezer a bit. So food for this week is slightly more than normal, although we spent £60 last week, so maybe not. So I'm going to put £70 in the food envelope, and that will leave me with £73. So I'll just, so 20, 40, 60, 70. So yeah, £70 is going to go in the food envelope. That seems like quite a lot. But like I say, I'm going to get some freezer things. So pop that in there. Still loving this cash envelope system, by the way. I think it's one of the best decisions I've made in terms of spending and finances. So that is £70 for the food budget for this week. And I'm actually going food shopping later on today, so that won't be in there for very long. And somebody asked a question, I think it was over on Instagram, about how I feel about carrying cash envelopes with so much money in them. And it's a fair enough question, I suppose. I don't feel like I put that much money in these to begin with. I know people have much bigger weekly budgets than we do, but that's okay. And also, so I do these on a Sunday, and on a Sunday afternoon I go and do our big food shop for the week, and that includes me spending the food budget, me putting petrol in the car, and probably using quite a bit from the miscellaneous one. So the ones that have the biggest amounts in, which are always these three, they're used pretty quickly. And then the rest of the time, you know, there's a bit in there, but not much, and I'm okay with that. If you're someone who does your cash envelopes monthly and so takes out a much bigger sum of money at the start of the month, then maybe you need to think about how you carry that. But what I would say is that I only take the envelopes out that I need to. So for example, this afternoon I'm not taking the children's envelope with me because I haven't got anything that needs to come out of that specifically, so I know that I can leave it here. But it's just working out a system for you, and you know, if the cash envelope system doesn't work for you, then that's absolutely fine as well. There's different methods of this, but for me, I mean, handing over that much money today is so much more real than me just putting in my PIN number in the cash machine, in the card machine. Anyway, so that's the food one. Petrol, I'm actually going to put £40 in this week. I mentioned a while ago that I had to up my petrol budget because I was kind of getting on the red light all the time and not really, yeah, and I'm not a fan of being on the red light when the petrol light comes on. So I'm going to put £40 in there. I think that will be, I don't think I'll spend that this week. I've got just over a quarter of a tank left at the moment. So I don't think it'll reach the £40 mark, although petrol prices are going up again, so we'll see. So petrol is £40. And again, I'll spend that this afternoon because I get the petrol at the supermarket because it's the cheapest one near us. And then the last two envelopes, so miscellaneous, so this is household things, cat food, anything that doesn't fit in the others. I'm going to put in £20 in there. In it goes. I definitely need to get, I know I need to get a fabric conditioner today, and I tend to, and this is a tip, if you've got the storage space for things like that, I tend to get the largest one I can, because the bigger that you buy it, so it's in bulk, isn't it, essentially, the better value for money it is. However, obviously you need to have somewhere to put that, and you know, but if you do and you can stretch your budget to get in, and it's the same with the washing liquid for the washing machine. I always try and get the biggest one of those, because especially when they're on offer, because that's definitely the best value. Anyway, so £20 goes in miscellaneous. I'm hoping not to spend any of that this week, but I say that and then I always end up doing that, so that's why we put £20 in there. And then children, some people asked on my no spend year video about how I would do this with children, and I replied and responded to that generally things for the children aren't included to a certain extent. So it's kind of a tricky balance, so that I don't want them to miss out. So things like the gymnastics, obviously you see I've paid for it already. Things to do with that, anything to do with school related stuff, clothes they need, shoes they need, anything like that is like almost like a non-negotiable. You know, I'm a parent, they need this stuff, and that's absolutely fine. It's the buying of toys, buying of extra things, always spending money when we go out is the thing that I'm trying to get them out of the habit of, and that's totally my fault because it's me that spends it. However, I'm going to put £20 in the children's envelope because I'm not going to purposely not do things with them just to save some money. And that might seem like a bit of a kind of contradictory statement considering I've said we're doing a no spend year. But this is more things like we're still going to go out. So last week we went to the park, for example. I might take the youngest one swimming this week, which obviously needs money. You need money to pay to get in, and you need some change for the lockers. Things like that, they aren't part of our no spend challenge, and that is simply because I still want them to do stuff, but it's the more mindful spending around them. So I'm not going to buy them more toys just for the sake of buying more toys. Does that make sense? There's a kind of a balance with the children bit. And I realise that when you say, oh, you're doing a no spend year, but you've got 2 children, that's kind of how it's going to work for us. So there, my 4, sounds weird saying 4 instead of 6, 4 cash envelopes all done. And then they're all done for about, I don't know, 3 hours, and then they'll most of them will be empty. But there we go. A kind of a leaner cash envelope system for this month, and indeed this year, because obviously that will hopefully continue. So there we go. So that's my cash envelopes for the second week of January. So there we go. Do you use the cash envelope system? Do you use those? Are you finding it helpful? Do you not enjoy the system? Let me know what you think, and don't forget to like this video, and if there's anything you would like me to film for YouTube, then please let me know. I'm kind of making a list of things that I want to film, but it'd be interesting to know if you particularly want me to film about something, and then I'll get that on my list of things to do. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.